Hey everybody!
Hi everyone, I'm Jene.
And I'm Nick, and we've been off for a while.
Yes, we have, but here we are, we're back. Hello, how you been doing? How's life like for you? What's the weather like over there? Oh, really? That's interesting. Yeah, good to hear from you. I don't know.
You really came with that.
I don't know.
You had something rehearsed.
No.
It felt very rehearsed. And I was like, oh shit.
You're like, we didn't go over this.
I'm hot off book. So yes, we've been off for a while. We thought we were gonna have to move, and then we didn't.
Yep, that was the whole thing.
So it was the whole thing, but now we're here. We're settled enough that we thought, hey, gotta jump back onto it. But of course, because we can't leave well and good enough alone, while we were off, we co-founded a company. So that's been fun.
Yes. Another one, other than what you've already heard from us. Like my marketing agency still going strong, still just chugging along great. But yes, this is something new. This is a startup. Very exciting.
Startup. So we're going to be using this platform to also kind of talk about our journey, our building in public type of journey as we go along. Thinking next week. Our co-founder will be in town, so the next one will kind of have like a little round table, and we're going to use this forum to really kind of talk about the product in detail and what the vision is, and that'll get shared around.
Oh, yeah.
Also, if you look in the description, we have some different links now. We still have a link to Jene's marketing agency for looking for marketing. It's the title that says marketing. We have a link to follow along with the startup, to follow along how we're building in public. I'm on Twitter, co-founders on Twitter. That's where we're doing a lot of like more of the company and actual like building goings on.
Yeah.
What else, Jene?
I just want to say that it's been really fun and really exciting, the process of this. So like Nick and I have worked in many different industries. You probably already know that if you've seen some of our older videos that talk about our background. But tech is kind of a new realm for us, especially starting a tech startup. Totally new, something that we've never really worked in that space, but it's something we're passionate about, especially Nick, I'll say. Nick really keeps his finger on the pulse of what's happening in the tech world, and he loves tech gadgets, he loves trying new apps, all of that kind of stuff, and I do too. There was a time actually that I did work in information and technology services during college, but that was long ago, and technology sure has changed since then. But like this is it's been really exciting, fun, and a totally different process than starting up a retail business or anything. I mean, like honestly, from the marketing standpoint, of course, you still have to come up with your brand, your branding, your brand message, all that kind of stuff is still, the same, just a different message being communicated to a different type of customer. But in terms of everything else, it's been a journey, and building the actual tech and working on that together, seeing it come together has been so fun and so cool. I don't have a lot to give in terms of how it should run or how it should be built, but I myself have really been thinking a lot about the customer journey, because I feel like customer experience, customer journey is a big part of the marketing realm as well, thinking about how someone will interpret this, how it will make them feel.
And that's kind of where we're coming into it, because I definitely don't want to say like, oh, we've never done this before, because you don't, the a lot of times in startups there's kind of like the, not only like the why now and kind of the so what question, but there's also like the why are you the person to do it? So if you heard like we've never done this before, and then the next thought is, well, why are you doing it then? Like, why should I trust you in the startup? We are not building the tech.
Right.
That's not where we're coming in. Our co-founder is of the more technically inclined, and we're also looking to hire...
And he's worked at startups before
a full stack dev.
Yeah.
But I'm coming in, not only, learning every day about the tech startup space to get up to speed, but I'm bringing my biz dev and B2B sales, which is going to be a portion of the kind of sales model of the final product. So that's what I'm bringing to the table. Jene is bringing her marketing and branding expertise to the table, so that when we have the B2C side, we know what we're talking about, we know what we're saying, we know how we're saying it. Mm-hmm. So we're all kind of this little team of us.
And then we have two of the best designers in the world on the team as well.
Yes, we do. And they're bringing some phenomenal UX, UI, and graphics design to the team. So that is the kind of the why this cohort of people. It's a lot of us are in our own fields, known for being incredibly disruptive and just kind of doing moonshots and going for them. Yeah. So we're kind of bringing that all together and kind of angling our attention at the same thing and trying something really different. So make sure to tune in next week. I'm hoping next week, right? Yeah, he'll be here next week.
He'll be here. We'll just have to make him do it. He doesn't know. We haven't told him or asked him yet that we want to do this, so he might chicken out a little bit. He's not. He's more of a behind the camera kind of guy, but it'll be a good time. We'll get a couple drinks in. He'll do it. He'll do it. It'll be fun. It'll be great.
So yes, tune in for that. That'll be great. What else? This was really just kind of like a hi. We're back, and then we had this convo the other day that we thought, need to save this.
Yeah. But before we do move on, one more thing I wanted to say about the app thing. If you have an idea for an app that you are like, I have an idea, but I don't know where to start. I don't know, how to get things off the ground. Or if you are already in the tech space and you have specific questions, or if this isn't your world at all, but you're curious, ask us anything. We're in it right now. And then if you ask us before we record our next video in a week, your questions may become a part of that video and we can discuss it at length and really give you a good answer. But we're jazzed about it and we want to talk about it. So let us know anything you'd want to hear.
Yeah, for sure.
No. Yes.
Okay, yes. Moving on. We had this conversation the other day in the car and I almost pulled out my phone and started recording, because it was a really good conversation, and then we thought, no, we'll just wait and we'll finish our conversation in an episode.
Yeah.
So, Janae, bring us up to speed on what that conversation was about.
Okay, so we just, because we're nerds, we were driving around running errands and we were talking about marketing. I think we were...
She's being coy. We were driving in Beverly Hills with the windows down. Mm-hmm. We had just grabbed some 50s out of the air and we were going to a diner.
That's right. And imagine us in a convertible, my hair blowing in the breeze, just like all of that was happening. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, beautiful day. So we were talking about marketing. I think in particular, Nick was talking about a marketing project at his job that was going on or something like that. I don't remember what really started the conversation, but it got me on a bit of a well-intentioned rant, something I feel very strongly about with marketing. And, when you go to business school, undergrad or grad school to get that MBA, and you're taking your marketing classes and they talk to you about the 4 Ps and they talk to you about all the ways that you need to let people know what your product does, who it's for. A lot of people take that very literally. And that makes for ads that are informative, but boring and not very memorable. Mm-hmm. I'm really against that. So I once worked, I won't say anything I shouldn't say, but I once worked for a company and I was heading up their marketing there, and they wanted to run ads for their product. And they wanted to make sure that all the ads said that theirs was the best. They were the best thingamajig of the thingamajig industry. And they had, the thingamajig has this much, X, this much Y, the best Z, the easiest that, and just did bullet points of product features and saying they're the best, right, at everything. Mm-hmm. And I really pushed back against this. And when I pushed back against this, the response I got in return was something that I have never forgotten and has really radicalized me in my marketing journey because of how strongly I felt against this. And this person, this business owner, said to me customers are stupid. You need to tell them exactly what it is, and you need to tell them to buy it or they won't. And that is the very antithesis of what I consider to be good marketing. It might be what you read in a marketing textbook. It might be, something that feels right at first blush. But if you treat your customers like they're stupid, they will notice. They will feel it. They won't like that. And they're going to go where they feel special, not stupid. So all this to say, when you're doing marketing, this is my hot take. Don't talk about your product features. Don't mention it in your ads. Don't tell them what makes it the best. Everybody's going to say it's the best. Everybody's going to say it's the best, okay? And if you sell a drink, and a sports drink or whatever, and you say like, it tastes so good, no shit. Like, that's a given. That's assumed. It's assumed by the person already that if you make a drink and it's on the market, it better taste good. You don't need to tell them, because you know what that does? That puts doubt in my mind that maybe you're telling me this because somebody said it didn't taste good and now you feel like you need to say it tastes good. If you make running shoes, I already know that they're supposed to be shoes that help me run. You don't need to waste valuable ad space talking down to me like I'm stupid to tell me that running shoes help you run and that yours do it the best. I already know every company thinks they're the best at what they do and that they have the best product. I already know that these product features are a given. And if you're not a marketer and you are just a product person, a business person, you think you have to tell everybody what your product is and what it does, because that's what you're in. That's the world you're in. You're in the world of product. But what, to me, is the most successful marketing is when you allow people to make those assumptions, because they already will, and you leave that well enough alone. They're going to know your product is good. They're going to know that you think you're the best. They're going to know that it does what it's supposed to do, right? It better. Otherwise, that's a whole different problem. But what you need to do is you need to get them bought in on your mission, or get them to feel like a part of your story, or get them to like vibe with you, however you want to say it, right? Any major company that you can think of, except for maybe tech. I'm going to say tech is a little bit different. Sometimes they do need to tell you the product features in an ad because it's a new iteration, like a new iPhone. They're going to tell you the main call out of it. But even still in that ad, that's not like, they're still selling you on lifestyle with everything else going on, right? But like, if you go, well, Jene, aren't these customers going to like have questions then? Aren't they going to wonder what is it? What does it do? How do I do this? Yeah. And that's good, because guess what? If they see your ad on Instagram and it is just, it doesn't say like, the best necklace of all the necklaces. It's so cute. It looks gold because it is gold. Like, none of that shit. If they have questions and they want to know, is it actually 14 karat, whatever, because they like how it looks and they like the whole vibe of the brand, what are they going to do? They're going to comment. And then you as the brand are going to respond. And then they're going to go, oh my gosh, somebody really responded to me so fast. And then you're going to have a bunch of comments and responses, and that looks like engagement, and that's great. And it shows that you're responsive. It shows that you're open. It shows that you care about answering people's questions, and the algorithm loves it because you're getting engagement. So like, it's really a win-win-win-win-win if people have questions, because they will ask. They will ask. They're not going to be like, I don't know what this is and I will just wonder forever. No, they're going to be curious and they're going to want to know. They're either going to click to find it on your website and find what they're looking for, or they're going to not bother to click and they're just going to ask you in the comments, and that's what we just said. So that is kind of what we were talking about. Am I forgetting anything? Or I feel like we had more of a back and forth about this when we were talking about it.
Yeah, you seemed very worked up about it, so I just let you go.
Listen.
I just let you, how you seem very... Tell
me your thoughts, if you agree. Tell me where you've seen this. Like,
so I definitely agree. I think kind of what you're talking to is something that we've seen with brands that are trying to move away from being solely transactional, because when you're kind of just a transactional brand, or like I needed shoes, I went and I bought shoes, generally that's kind of falling into the commodity mindset where I'm going to look for the best value. I'm not necessarily trying for no other good reason to spend more money than I need to. So, brands try to very quickly work above that. Some marketers kind of fall, and, it's an easy crutch to say that, 10% lighter. Then you're like, lighter than what? Like, or why does that care? Is that good? Maybe that's bad,
Yeah.
So, lifestyle, and then even above that is, community, and brands kind of having now more than ever having like a stance on stuff.
Yes.
And being very open with that, because younger people, and as they move into being kind of core demos that purchase, they want companies that they buy from to have a stance on something, because
and
they
to
want
use their dollars responsibly.
Yeah, because they want to align with it, and they are assuming that the dollars that the company is making are going towards that alignment. They want to feel like their brand clicks in with their community. So all of that is, we'd call them like, I don't know, soft skills if the product were a person, because it has very little to do with kind of the hard facts of the product itself. If the, Jene mentioned like running shoes. Nike, they make shoes, but they make a lot of other things too. They make apparel, they make sports equipment, and things like that. They're at the store level or at the product page level, they're calling out differences in their shoes, where it's like this lace technology or that whatever, and then they also then kind of like they use like namification for also their shoe types, so that you kind of start, if you're in it, you start knowing the features already because of the name. Similar, like a Frappuccino doesn't need to tell me it's ice blended, because the name kind of becomes synonymous with certain features I'm going to be getting when I get that beverage. So there's that shortcut as an aside. But you zoom outside of the product page, and Nike overall, I think it was something like they support the world's best athletes. That's kind of what they're trading on. Their ads don't say that this shoe is better, this soccer ball they make kicks farther.
Right.
None of that. It's saying they support
20% less sweat in your clothes because it's sweat wicking, whatever. So, like that stuff is probably on their website under the product description where you need it. But
because that's when you're wanting to make those nitty gritty decisions. But they're saying they support the world's best athletes. That's how they live that day in and day out. And then over time, that becomes their defendable point. You can't swap out necessarily Under Armour with that, even though they're both in that space, and have it quite feel right. Because on Nike also, you work on building out what that means for Nike. What's the Nike way of saying that they support the world's best athletes? Because when it becomes defendable like that, it's kind of like a version of your logo. I couldn't show you the Nike logo and tell you that it's Under Armour, because you'd be like, no, I know. I don't need the text underneath. I know that's not the right one. It's the same thing. But then also on the other side of that, it's the reason that it works so well when it does work is because when you trade on something above and beyond your product, it's your top of funnel is people just buying into the vision, to the mission. I need soccer shoes or I need skateboard shoes. It doesn't matter. I'm buying in at the top, and then I can get sorted where I need to in the middle and bottom of funnel with those specific types of campaigns and those specific types of products. But I didn't limit myself to one type of athlete by making it just like, we support the world's best athletes. And then on the consumer side, why wouldn't I buy a product that says that they support the world's best athletes? Because I'm an athlete and I want to be, supported by the people that support the world's best athletes. It's like, if the super famous person has this bag, I want that bag because I want the bag that the famous person thinks that's the bag that aligns with me, because I want to align with them. So there's, I think it's definitely the way to go to kind of trade on that brand identity.
Yeah.
And market with that brand identity. Also, what you do is that when you build brand affinity like that, you start insulating yourself from, I don't know what we'd call it, there's a term, but kind of the normal price sensitivity issues that people in different socioeconomic brackets have during like up markets and down markets, where you'd have people saying, oh well, the person, they're making this much money, this much disposable income, so I can't make a product that's worth more than X because I know that that's the share of that wallet that I'm getting is this amount of money, and they're not going to spend more. When it's a commodity, sure, or when it's very much like, well, they're kind of nice, but like I kind of need whatever, I only got so much money, I'm gonna do that. But when it's like brand affinity, and it's like you feel like you resonate with that brand, like you find a way to afford it. It's not 100%, like nobody's materializing money they didn't have, but it definitely defies the conventional thinking that certain we'll call them like nice to haves instead of like need to haves fall into these buckets that kind of stop at a certain price point, because it's just not true if you can tap into affinity in the right way, which is what we've talked about this in other videos. That's what good licensing does to a product. It turns it from a commodity into something with brand affinity that is
true,
insulated.
I just thought of another example as well to kind of illustrate this point. So imagine that you are a hat seller. You make hats, you sell hats, and you're like a small operation, and maybe you sell at like an arts fair, where there's lots of tents, equal space, equal competing, and people walking by, right? People just strolling along, looking, maybe they want to shop, maybe they don't, right? Because in the real world, like that's how it is competing for ad space. Everybody gets a block, and people could scroll by or people could stop, right? So you have all your hats out, and maybe some people walk by and they go like, without even stepping up or stepping into your booth, they kind of like peek over and they go, how much are your hats? Or they go, like, what do you have here? What's all this? Because that's what people say when they are in these situations. I don't know why. They can see that they're hats, but that's how people are. And then you go, oh, we make our hats with 100% wool, and we handcraft da 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 da. And people will go, oh, that's cool. Okay, very cool. Thank you. And be on their way, right? You kind of have to put yourself in the mindset of also the customer in this situation. Because we've seen this happen. We've done this. We've been that customer where, they're talking at you about all the features as you're walking by. They're like, we have hats here and they're made here and in our town, and I make them by hand and da da da, and they're kind of shouting the details at you, and you're like, oh, very cool, good for you, thank you, information, okay. But if you walk by that hat booth and there are mirrors and there is a A-frame sign or something that says try on any hat, and you go in and you put the hat on your head and you like the way you look in it and you see yourself in that hat, you're probably walking away with that hat without even needing to know. And maybe while you're trying on hats, because you're already sitting there putting them on, trying them on, seeing yourself in the hat, seeing yourself being a person who wears a hat like this. The owner might be like, I make all these hats myself. And you're going, oh, really? Okay. Like you've already been sold on the look and the feel of yourself in it. You see yourself in the hat. You see yourself being a hat person in that hat, right? Because all you had to do was be invited to try it on.
That's top of funnel. And then
yes,
when
and
you're
it's
putting it on and
right.
they're telling you that's like you're moving down the funnel, you're on the product page,
yes,
you're getting the details, and then you've bought the hat, you're at the bottom of the funnel now. Now it comes to retention. So they follow up with you.
They might go, here's my QR code, follow me on Instagram.
How have you been liking your hat?
Yeah, that's
true. Do you need us to touch up your hat? Are you looking for a hat for different seasons now? It looks like maybe you wore out that hat. Could I offer you a discount on another one? That becomes the bottom of the funnel.
But in the digital marketing space or whatever, we need to invite people to try on our hats. And they can't physically do that. They can't look in the mirror with our hat on their head. But how can an ad make them feel a part of it? How can their first impression of your product or your brand invite them in without just shouting, I make hats, as they're scrolling on by, because they'll go, okay, cool, thank you, and then forget. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of the metaphor I have there for you.
That's a good one.
A good real world application of that.
Yeah. Well, cool. I think that wraps it up. I feel like that was what we wanted to tell you from that conversation. Fun fact, and probably until, I don't know, probably like 23 or 24, I really didn't understand the difference between NBA and MBA. And I felt like it was just, I lost the opportunity to ask. So I was just like,
Wow.
And it wasn't until The Office.
The Office.
That taught me. So maybe I was younger. Maybe it was like...
Yeah, you probably were.
I was probably younger than in my 20s. But I remember for a long time...
Because I knew you when you were 23 and 24, and you definitely knew the difference.
Okay, you're right.
So I think you were younger. Maybe a teenager.
Maybe I was a teenager.
That's understandable.
Let me rephrase this. There was probably what felt like way too long that I didn't really understand the difference.
That you thought they were the same thing? Or
I just thought maybe somebody was missaying one or the other.
Oh, okay.
And I was like... It's been too long. I can't ask anymore. I just have to hope to God I never have to type it. That's how I felt for way too long.
That is funny.
And then it wasn't until David Wallace said it'll be great to have another MBA, and I was like, oh, he's saying M because David Wallace enunciates.
David Wallace, love it. We love David Wallace.
Okay.
If it's not Steve Carell, who's your favorite boss of the whole Office show?
I think David Wallace.
David Wallace, yeah.
I really David Wallace. I remember watching that show. I really had David Wallace was the type of boss that I wanted to impress.
Oh my God, yes. And you want to be invited to that party he has at his nice house where everybody's eating. You're like, I want to be there. I want to go there.
I want him to say good job.
You're right. Yeah, Will Ferrell is funny, but the worst type of boss. I could never. I feel like I could be okay with Jim being my boss. I would hate to have Andy as a boss or Dwight as a boss. Idris Elba, what's his character's name again? Why am I forgetting?
Hang on. Not Sadako Steel.
That's where he worked.
That's where he worked before.
I know. Don't I know? No, what's his character's name?
Hang on. Why am I blanking on it? Oh my god. His name is...
I don't know. Anyway, I would be terrified of him if he was my boss. He seems so serious and he's so by the book that I'd feel kind of like Jim, just terrified to be caught doing anything that wasn't meant to be.
Charles Minor.
Thank you, Charles Minor.
I hardly know her.
I know. And Nellie, I actually like Nellie.
I don't like Nellie.
You don't like Nellie?
I don't love Andy, but I think just on principle, I didn't like. At that point, the show lost.
Yeah, yeah.
The fact that she just was I'm the boss now, and then
that's true.
Robert California's we'll let this play out. You're okay.
Yeah, and I don't like Robert California.
This has turned into Parks and Recreation.
Robert California is one of my least favorite characters in the entire show.
Yeah.
Along with Todd Packard. No, don't like him. Don't like him one bit. No.
I don't like Erin.
Yeah, I mean, she just gets her character, they kind of do a disservice to toward the end.
She starts okay.
Yeah,
but then
exactly.
But then she morphs, and at that point,
and
the
when
whole
she's
show becomes
taking care of the old lady in Florida and stuff, and I'm just
the whole show becomes a caricature.
Right.
And that was the Parks and Recs deal. So then it's oh, you guys are just doing a Parks and Recs thing.
Right. No, I like her in the beginning when she's friends with Kelly,
and she has almost black hair.
It's a dark red. It's
but she's very
auburn,
just quiet. She's like very quiet.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what happens with her character,
okay,
but
whatever.
Anyway, that was fun.
Anyways,
who's your favorite boss in the office other than Michael? Which actually, in real life, I would not want to work for Michael either. But in the show, we love him. We love him. With that,
we'll see you. Next week. Yes, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'll see you next week, and we'll have our co-founder on. That'll be fun. Drop us a comment, check out the links, follow along, and until then, it's business as usual.
Bye.
Bye.